Alright, we're back on gaming, and I want to say this right now. The news that I'm going to tell you today in this video is quite disgusting. It's quite disturbing. So I'm just letting you know now that this is not a good week for, gaming news, okay? But there will still be gamers out there who will support this trash, who will, defend this trash, who say, our community isn't that bad. And look, I put it like this. Our community is horrible right now. It's horrible. But it doesn't mean that everybody in the community is horrible. So let's just get that out of the way right now, because I want to get into this. And we're going to start off as usual with EA and their bullshit, okay? Now, I'm looking at the computer here. EA snuck SecuROM DRM and free The Sims 2 Ultimate Collection. That's right. So even in the free games that they're giving out, they're sneaking in DRM. This is what EA does, okay? Also, EA is unveil, The Sims 4 Premium Membership. Now, EA, if you have been caught slipping in DRM and free versions of The Sims, what the hell makes you think that people are going to pay for The Sims 4, this premium version, knowing that you're doing all these type of, dare I say, shenanigans? Huh? I'm just wondering. Oh, I forgot. You're banking on fandom, so that's why you're doing it. So, anyways, I want to move forward. In-game currency coming to Titanfall. Remember Titanfall? The game that nobody talks about anymore? That was so hyped for, what, a month? Yeah, no one's talking about it. In-game currency is coming for Titanfall. But you can't purchase it. That's right. What they're going to do is they're going to create an in-game currency system, but what you have to do is earn it within the game. So you just can't pay straight out, which is the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do as far as I'm concerned. I want to move on this esports thing. I'm telling you now, people. I told you I've done videos how long ago saying esports is not a sport. I've had some of you message me, not too long ago, or keep messaging me saying, Event, why do you hate esports so much? Why this? Why are you so against it? You have to understand, and I will keep saying this, it is not a sport. And we can sit here, we can talk reflexes and athletic ability. It's not just that. Y'all don't understand. It's not just that, okay? But understand that other sports fans are very mad about this as well. Because for those that know, ESPN, too, aired a tournament on TV. That's right. They aired a tournament, and backlash came out of nowhere from the sports community. They want to know, why is this on here? It's not a sport. And they just went off. I'm going to put the link in the info bar because there are so many tweets that went towards ESPN that were trashing this. That's right. You have to understand, gamers, our community, because we look so bad right now, and I'm going to show you that later, okay? That the general public, the public at large, does not respect, all right, the gaming community. And if you think about it, for years and years, it never has. Like I said, when people did not fit in to certain cliques and things of that nature, that's when arcades became big. That's when a community was created. Because the outside world, for those, each individuals, all right, it wasn't just about sometimes having fun, but a lot of people, that was their, their haven. You have to understand that society did not want those people, or yet, at least they didn't feel like they were wanted. So they went to the arcade and they met people that were just like them. That's what it came down to, all right? Society really has this stigma towards gaming. Until recently, this generation or so, we're starting to see a lot of social games come out, and we're starting to see a lot of people who really aren't gamers step into the fray. That was the entire point, because we were an excluded group. That's what we were. So for anybody that says, they just need to accept it. No, you have to understand, for years, it has not been accepted. But you have to stay with your own. You're supposed to police your own. We're going to talk about that, okay? Like I said, ESPN, those people, those sports fans are pissed. They are so mad at ESPN right now. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on the esports front. But understand there's more, all right? Riot is cracking down on racial slurs in League of Legends. That's right. And here's the thing. There are some people who are saying, finally, why did it take so long for this to happen? And then you also have people who say, I feel that this is a bad idea. You shouldn't crack down because people want to use racial slurs. That should tell you something right there, okay? Because those are the people who use them. I don't remember when racial slurs had to be used to play a video game. Do you not know how to act when playing? I understand that you're playing off emotion at times, but there is no reason for that. You know constraint. You have constraint. You know what's right and wrong. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is what Riot actually said about how they were going about it and kicking people out. So 14 days or permaban, all right, from League of Legends if you decide to start using racial slurs. Now, I put it like this. I would say, why even give them 14 days? Permaban their ass, all right? But I'm sure there's people that are going to come in here and say, no, that's not fair. You have to give them a warning first. You know right from wrong. You know this. Why keep giving them chances? They know better when they know when they're stepping into a video game or wherever in society. You just can't start going off like that. You know that. Oh, I forgot. Everyone thinks that because it's the internet, there shouldn't be any consequences. I forgot. That's what we're going with these days. I don't remember when the crazy people started justifying all this stuff and it became the norm. I don't understand that. But this is what's said afterwards from one fan and their response. That right there kind of pisses me off, all right? Because it says, if, the low false positives there, we'll keep it going, if. How about you do it because it's the right thing to do? How about that? How about use some common sense and say, hey, this is not acceptable. It doesn't matter who's for it or who's against it. It's common sense. Don't do it and you won't get banned. But apparently that's not enough. See, this reminds me of, the classification function back in the day that stemmed from the binary function, which is more of a true positive rate that they're testing right now. And that really bothers me because this should not be an if, okay? It shouldn't be a test. It should be hard ingrained right into it. But for me to say that, I would just be some angry black man with 8 race issues, right? That's what I would be, all right? It's common sense. Don't act like a damn idiot. That's all you have to do. You can play your game. No one's stopping you from playing your game. Just don't act like an idiot. That's all. But it seems like you can't do that. Play this. And if you have a problem, if you have so much of a problem where you don't know what to say out of your mouth, don't use a microphone. Don't use it. How about that? Don't type. Don't just play your game. How about that? Regardless of what's being said or anything, just play your game. But for some reason, you can't do that. Restraint. It seems like you don't want to check yourself. You don't want to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, maybe I'm going too far. But no, because that would be, too much right. So people who are for this, like myself, then you'll say, oh, you're just sensitive and we'll have to test the sensitivity rate and all that. Ridiculous. You know it's wrong. And our community was never like this. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's keep going because League of Legends is also starting to work on a little bit more, which I think is still valiant, but not important right now. And I'll explain, okay? Because League of Legends team says it's working to add more diversity to its women champions. A valiant effort. I agree. It should be done. But it's not that important right now. You want to know what's more important? Keeping your members safe from account hacks and steals and things of that nature. If you don't know what I'm talking about, League of Legends. Hacker makes $1,000 a day off of stolen League of Legends accounts. That's what you should be working on right now. Right? That's it. Right there. Once you get that done, then you can move on to something else. That's more important. So people don't get their accounts stolen instead of working on the diversity of women champions. Like I said, they're both important issues, but I think one's just a little bit more important, don't you think? I'm just saying. But I want to keep moving on to esports, okay? Because 5 Chinese DOTA players win $5 million. This is all about the money. And you know this. Alright, now I'll put it like this. Y'all have to realize that China has more online gamers than the U.S. has people living in it. It is big over there. Alright, also in Korea it's big. I mean, you have to understand. Esports, the way they make it these days, like I said, it is now turning into a cash cow. It is a moneymaker. It has nothing to do about your love for video games. It has nothing to do about your teams and all this. No, it's about sponsors. It's about money. It's about how they can get you to buy products outside of it. If you like that guy that's playing that game, you think he's a champion, that headset he's wearing, guess what? You're going to want to buy that. Matter of fact, what he's drinking, that Mountain Dew or energy drink, you're going to buy that too. That's what they're trying to tell you. It's stemming out for all types of advertising to say, hey, this is what's cool, this is what's hip, what kids are doing now, and we can bank off of it. I don't understand how gamers have not seen this yet. How do you keep this going? It's okay if you want to play your game. But to promote these type of things, $5 million. 5 Chinese want $5 million. 5. You will tell me that money, and that's all for them too. You will tell me that money couldn't have gone to a good charity or something like I forgot. It's about them. It's not about, helping others or making the community look better, and say, hey, look what these gamers did. No, it's about, winning for yourself and being the top dog and making all this money and being a star and that people still don't respect. All right? Maybe out there, not here. You said, you can look at the ESPN link. I'm just saying, man, this is it's getting ridiculous. But I will say one thing about esports. I will say one thing. They are doing something that I feel is also a valiant effort. Okay? There's an esports tournament coming up aimed to put gamers with disabilities on the map. That's right. So now they're trying to branch out even more. And we're going to talk about this, about how they should branch out. And, we need diversity within our gamers. Because apparently, if, it may not even matter at this point. Because, as we know, there's elitists out there that will only listen to what champions have to say. So, if you're disabled and you're good, and you have a voice, it probably wouldn't matter. Because you're not winning enough tournaments. Because that's what this is about now these days. It's not about common sense and people saying what's from the heart and saying, the truth or using common sense or sound logic. No, they're not going to listen to you unless you make the top 8 or the top 10 or you go to X amount of tournaments or you're, widely known. If you're not widely known or whatever, they're not going to listen to you. That's what it's come down to in these sub-genres in gaming. And it was never like that. It really wasn't. But I want to talk about a politician, which is really funny. It's really funny. A politician wants people who steal weapons in World of Warcraft to be punished as thieves in real life. That's right. So he's saying, if people are paying for items and they get stolen, he wants you to be able to be in some serious trouble for it. Now, he goes on to say that, if it's something like a $5 item here or there, it's not that big of a deal. He would not call the authorities for that, for a $5 item. But if you steal things that are big, people are spending a lot of money on items and you're stealing them, and it's a repeat offense, well then you have to call the cops. Understand this. If you're going to open up this box, theft is theft. It doesn't matter if it's $5, it doesn't matter if it's $1,000, okay? Let's get that straight. And repeat offenders, you have to understand, this is how it starts. You start stealing small, and then you work your way up. So for this guy to sit here and say, I wouldn't call the cops, he would not call the cops over something like this. But he wants other people to. How does that work? See, if this is what you have, politicians, if this is all that you can come up with, now mind you, he plays these games himself, which almost makes me feel he's a little salty, because maybe something's been stolen from him. I don't know. But if you're paying real money for in-game items and things of that nature, first off, you shouldn't even be doing that. All right? That should tell you right there, that's where gaming is going wrong. And then there's theft and all this. No. That's where it's going wrong. But the companies aren't being responsible for it. They say, hey, whatever, You've got politicians now stepping in and saying something. You know what, politicians? Why don't you step in and help us with this positive image? Why don't you talk to the media and say, hey, look, there's people out there who are really doing a good job with video games, and doing good things with them. Why don't you give them a break? It's unfair. You're slandering them. But politicians aren't going to step up for that, are they? No. Maybe if one of us tried to lobby them and throw them a lot of money, then they would step up. They don't have a problem stepping up and saying how bad they are, right? And how they need to be eradicated from the world. Yeah. They don't have a problem doing that, though. See, I don't understand why politicians decide to pick and choose on what, these type of things to talk about. Because, as we know, there's more important issues. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to get into this right now. Because this is probably one of the most disgusting things I've seen in a while. No skin thick enough. For those who have not read the article, it will be in the info bar, alright? Harassment of women in the gaming industry. Now, we know this has been a hot button topic for quite a while, and a lot of us are tired of hearing it, tired of talking about it. I get it. But the screenshot I'm about to show you kind of made me had to talk about this today. And for those who did not read the article, and I will explain, I'm going to explain, alright, about this article. Here was the first sentence, the intro to this apparently insulting article. Women are the niggers of gender, huh? And he goes on to say, even if you killed yourself, I wouldn't even fuck the corpse. First off, why would you fuck a corpse? Just saying. I don't know why'd you do that, but clearly, this is something that needs to be talked about. Because it's not only just sexist, but also racist. This is what you call absolute hatred. I'm not trying to hear, oh, well, he's trolling to get under her skin. I don't care. I don't care. You have to understand, this is what I mean about self-control. This is what I mean about restraint. It seems as though people don't care. We've never, and it's so rampant these days, we have never seen such hatred in our community since online gaming started. They said arcades, it was all team building. It really, if you think about it, everything was team building. People were watching others. They would cheer each other on. They would say, oh, if you lost, there would be high fives if you win. Even in fighting games, when you went up against each other, you see it still to this day. When people do great move stuff, you see people freak out. Because they're cheering on, they're getting hype. It's all team building. And when you respect each other, you start playing against each other more. And guess what? You start becoming friends. This network culture has hurt our community so much. And don't get me wrong, there are some positives in this culture, in this network culture. But there are way too many people, way too many, that we see this too rampant. And I'm trying to understand, where do we go from here? What is the answer to stop people from acting like idiots? That's what it comes down to. I've told you before, just because you're on the internet, it does not give you a free pass to act like an idiot. You still have responsibility. You have to understand that you're sending this to this woman because she's a person. She's a person on the other end of that. All right? And people say, oh, well, yeah, I'm hurting her feelings. If that's your objective, to hurt people's feelings, it doesn't take talent to be mean, first off. All right? That's very easy. People can see that anywhere. It's unoriginal. And like I said, anybody can do it. Hell, I've done it plenty of times. All right? Anybody. That's what I said. It comes second nature to be mean. But to be positive is a whole different thing. There has to be balance. And I'm not saying balance within the community. I'm saying balance within each individual, within all of us. Like I said, we all have our streaks at times. We do. But nowhere. No. That's just absolutely wrong. Now, let me tell you now, all right? Because two wrongs don't make a right here. When she's writing this article, she's going on about how, women, how she's being treated. As a woman, how she's being treated. Okay? Just ignores the fact that we're going to talk about the point of niggers, of gender. We've seen this way too many times when women try to, play this card, this faux feminism, where they play this card and absolutely leapfrog the race issue. Anita Sarkeesian did it not too long ago in her recent video, where she was showing so many stereotypes of black people, didn't say a thing, but kept focusing on the women, the treatment of women. I'm sorry, but when I walk around here, I don't see black dudes walking around with giant pimp cups and everything. I don't see that. But apparently, we're not going to talk about that. If I talk about it, then, I would just be called another racist black guy. A black guy, angry black man with race issues. When Samantha Allen came out and talked about how, like I said in the previous video about that, when she said, well, they could have hired anyone but another white guy. If I'd have said that, I'd have been destroyed on here for saying something like that. Like I said, double standards. And it's sad that we have to see this. But it seems like, for some reason, and I'm going to put the entire article in the info bar for you, but understand, when we see these type of things, and for apparently one ignorant man to say something like this, that is my phone, I don't care, one ignorant man to say something like this, you have to also I won't even say man. I'm not going to say man. That's a child. And we know this. Like I said, a lot of trolling anyway comes by either man-children or children in general. If this is what you have to do to think it's entertaining, entertainment, something wrong with you. There really is something wrong with you. And I would have to ask, where's your parents? And grown men, understand, even here on YouTube, when grown men say things that are this vile, you understand that you are influencing others. Like I said, you do have a responsibility. It's amazing how so many people on here want their airtime, want to be known as kings and gods and stars and everything, but they don't take the same responsibility in realizing what they're saying. You cannot keep hiding behind the shield of entertainment. Because if that's the case, this person sending her this, that person finds that entertaining to do. Our community is not about this. But apparently, she goes on about sensitivity. And, of course, we know there's a lot of people out there who say, you just have to suck it up and blah, blah, blah. And I understand both sides of that fence. But don't sit here and act like all women are these, are on the attack, or on the defense, I should say, all the time. Don't say that. Because for those who did not see what happened last week, okay, women were on the attack. And it had nothing to do with gender, okay? Kim Kardashian, that's right. Her game came out. And this is what women were saying. When they bought her game, this is what they were saying to her on Twitter. It just goes to show you, when it comes to anger, it does not matter. When it comes to rage, it does not matter. When it comes to age, it does not matter. When it comes to gender, it does not matter. When it comes to race, it does not matter. It does not matter in our community. In any day in our gaming community, you can see any walk of life. There is every example out there every day that shows if you want to be nasty, if you want to be vile, if you want to be disrespectful, it can happen. Does not matter man or woman. But you're still going to have these women who try to toot their own horn. Because, let's be honest here, all right? We've seen time and time again, this is not about the advancement of women in gaming, all right? This is about people using the subject for personal gain. And for every time they talk about how there's not enough, females being represented in video games and characters and main protagonists and things of that nature, you keep talking about that, but it seems like all these games are flying under the radar that do star positive women, even vengeful women. You know what I mean? Women who are strong, who take nothing for granted. And it seems like they don't see that, though. It flies under the radar because they're too busy worried about their platform. And for those who know what I'm talking about, if you haven't seen it yet, the Kickstarter that just went through has just been successful, and I applaud it for being successful. Man, if you haven't seen the trailer, show it now. Time Spinner.
In the night, soldiers invaded our village. My mother and I fled to the only sanctuary we knew. The Time Spinner was our last hope to undo the past. But they were right behind us. They destroyed my family and my home. I will destroy them all. I will bend time to my will. And hunt them down throughout history. No one will stop me.
I've said before, I think it's time that we start looking at these problems and start actually having a healthy sit down and talk about some solutions. From both sides of the fence, from all sides of the fence. And what I mean by that is not just company or industry, because they need to talk. They need to sit down with fans and talk too. They do. It needs to be, women, men, race, like I said, everyone needs to talk and say, hey, how can we get rid of this barrier? That's what it comes down to, because people in our community have created this. Like I said, it wasn't always there. It wasn't. It's just amazing. And the thing is, let's get something straight here. This is not just about race and gender as well, all right? It's also about where you come from as well and nationality, because there's times I've played Rainbow Six. And I will play from people overseas, and they think, oh, all Americans are stupid, fat, and lazy. And then when you sit and talk to them, while you're playing and show that you can be a team sport, by the end of that, they're like, never thought I'd talk to an American and have this great conversation. And maybe I'm wrong of my, of my perception of Americans. And the same can be said for Americans with people in the UK, or, for some reason, America and Canada, or, America in the Middle East, or wherever you're from. Our hobby brings us together. And it seems like we've forgotten that a long time ago. It only just supports, not just, oh, just fun, I want to play my games. We also influence each other when we do these type of things. But when you have people, when all they do is focus on negativity and hate, it tends to become a snowball effect and devours our community. Our community needs a hard reset. It just comes down to now, will everyone step up? And it seems like we're not going to get that. I think it's time that we really, like I said, sit down and talk about this. It's time that it gets done. Now, I do want to move on. And I want to talk about WiiU Owners real quick, because now you can transfer your data from one Wii U to another. Now, if this is the same transfer method that Nintendo introduced for the regular Wii to transfer data over to the Wii U, no thanks. I don't understand why Nintendo still hasn't tied everything to people's accounts instead of system to system. That makes no sense. Nintendo, you need to upgrade on how you transfer data. I don't understand you. I want to move on. I want to talk about the PS4, alright, because PS4 owners, apparently they are not happy with the latest firmware update and demand more features to be added. Are you serious? Oh, I don't know if y'all can hear that helicopter or not. But yeah, it's kind of loud here. I don't know if it's on the camera. But I put it like this. You cannot demand more features to be added. You can't demand that. Alright? This is what they're giving you. You may not like it. You may disagree. But for you to say you demand, that's crazy. As a consumer, you have rights, but you cannot go beyond your bounds. You cannot tell a company, I demand you to do this. Point blank. You can't do that. You can complain about things. You can say, look, I'm not going to buy this product or support this product anymore. But also understand, Sony has a history of this. We see it with the PS3. All right? They were giving us Facebook apps and everything instead of giving us, stuff for our games and help our games and fixes. And here's the problem with that. You knew it in the past, and yet you still bought the PS4. So you knew what you were getting yourself into, and now you're still not happy. Sony fans, relax. Now, of course, this article could be a bit jaded, I think, because it seems like it's really a knock at Sony fans. I'm sure not all Sony fans act that way, And I can understand if people are disappointed. That's fine, But don't tell me that people are going to start demanding things. We saw this not too long ago. Last gaming video I did with Bungie and Destiny. Like, stop. No one can feel like they're slated or betrayed, or this is a company we're talking about here. And though they make a lot of wrong decisions, all of them do. They make a lot of bad decisions, that we do not agree with. But it doesn't mean you can demand companies to do things. It doesn't mean that you can demand the gaming media to act a certain way. It doesn't mean you can demand people to shut their mouths as much as you want them to. And I'll put it like this, alright? Because Cliffy B, that's right. I don't know why people keep listening to this dude. I don't know why they keep reporting this dude, alright? But apparently, he says that E3 is a big waste of money. Now look, there's two ways I feel about this. When E3 was this year went by, I had said E3 is a waste of time. I said that. I said, I don't really watch E3. And remember, I sat on Twitter and made a bunch of jokes about it, and then people started getting mad, and I said, I don't understand why you get mad. They're jokes. They're jokes. If you can't understand that that's all they are, then there's something wrong with you. You should not be taking E3 that seriously. Alright? That's simple. Another thing that bothers me about this is that when Cliffy B is sitting here saying that E3 is a waste of money, he talks about how the developers work so hard, and they get on stage. Cliff, did you make money at E3 when selling Gears of War? You did? Well, then you can't say anything. Understand it's a hard sell. That's all E3 is, a hard sell. Alright? If you made any ounce of money off of a presentation at E3, you cannot say this. Bottom line. Now, I want to move on to one more piece of news. Tekken, that's right, versus Street Fighter. For those who think it is canceled, it is not canceled. That's right. I have the link in the info bar for you. They are confirming that this game is still going to come out. God knows when it's going to come out, but they're saying it is not canceled. That is the latest news we have with Tekken versus Street Fighter. We will see what happens in the future, and as we know, Tekken 7 has been announced. We know this. So, we will see what happens. Now, I do want to talk about, before I end this, because it's been such bad news today, I do want to talk a little bit positive. I want to talk about the charity stream. I've done three streams in total of 6 hours. All right, $1,000 was our goal. For those who don't know, we have crushed that goal by $2,000. I believe it's $93 now. That's right. So I want to thank everyone. That's right, community. Like I said, I want to thank you for the support. I want to thank you for the donations. I want to thank you for everything that you have done to show that these kids, all right, will get the right treatment that they deserve, or that they need, I should say. And I want to say deserve, because in these days, people who ask for help, they don't necessarily deserve the help. You know what I mean? There's people out there who really deserve help. And these kids, you know, that's what they deserve. And I will put it like this as well, okay? Since this has happened, I wanted to talk about Phase B, or Phase 2. And because this has happened, a lot of people are saying, no, you should just keep this one going. So I wasn't sure how this happened, because I thought after goal, maybe it would just stop. I wasn't sure. So I talked to Extra Life, and they said, no, you can keep this going as long as, the deadline permits. And here's the thing. Extra Life gave everybody of Extra Lifers, they gave them an extension. So instead of, as I said before, October 26th or 7th, it actually goes till November 3rd. So even if you donate today or whenever, the proceeds all proceeds will still go to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. I will still see nothing of it, things of that nature. Understand, the next stream I will do will be at 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. Alright, so understand that I will be doing another stream tomorrow. Alright, we're going to keep this going. Once November 3rd is up, and I think that should be a good deadline to cut it off, because we understand Thanksgiving is coming around. You people have your families to deal with, and then you have the holiday season coming along, and people have to do stuff for their families. So I understand that. You know what I mean? November 3rd is a good cutoff. I would like to say that we're going to keep this going and see how far it can go. I will say this. Like I said, I've told you on the stream, out of 206 people here in Philadelphia that are registered for Extra Life, they only raised about $4,000 or so. I said that on the stream, and that was before I even did gold. So I've received news that I'm the number one Philadelphian, I should say, that has raised money. And on Extra Life's website, I am in the number 6 spot of overall, fundraisers for this year alone. Now, some of these people, when I see these fundraisers, they're like $30,000 or whatever, and they have like incentives and all this, so you're not going to catch them. You know what I mean? But I am at number 6 overall all year. That is crazy. This is what you, the community, has done. This is you. All right? Like I said, this is a team effort. This is not just all me. Without you, this could not happen. So, please, give yourself, seriously, a standing ovation. Pat yourself on the back. You did a great thing. Like I said, even if you just spread the word about the stream, that is enough. That is support. That is help. Coming to watch is support. Donations is support. You know what I mean? Like, all of it matters. Like I said, even in this network culture, we can still do positive things. And a lot of you have said, well, where's the news for this? Why aren't they highlighting this? I will put it like this. Philly Boy Lou did post, my stream, the Fox 29, the local one here in Philadelphia when I was doing it, and they did retweet it. But other than that, there has been no coverage or anything. You really can't expect coverage. But, like some of you said, I bet you if someone went on a shooting spree, they would cover it and say it was video games. Yeah, they would. You have to understand that this hatred has, like I said, it's not only just consuming us from the inside when it comes to our community, but the outside, I don't want to say forces, but the outsiders are also throwing it on top of us. So it's eating us alive from the inside, and they're trying to eat us alive from outside. You know what I mean? We have so much that needs to be done, and there's so much work that needs to be done. It is time to start working on solutions. Like I said, the gaming media really has to step up. And I understand the gaming media isn't going to cover much, because it's not that big of a sum. They're not going to cover what I'm doing. PewDiePie, they covered him because he raised like $90,000. That's a big sum. They'll cover him. You know what I mean? Not to mention he's partnered and all that other stuff. So you have to understand that there's a lot of politics at play as well. The gaming media really doesn't care that much about good news. It really doesn't. And if they are, then by all means, gaming media, prove me wrong. That's all you have to do. But all I see these days are negative news, or someone will catch a problem and say, hey, we need to talk about this. But here's the thing. Even though we can have healthy discussions, actions are not being taken. Like I said, League of Legends, they're testing things. That's an action somewhat being taken. But to say, if it works with certain things, no. Just do it. Just do it. That's all it needs to be done. Have to take action sometime. You can't just sit around and keep talking and talking and talking. Because eventually, everyone that's a progressive, talking actually stalls things. And there's no progress.